All right, OBS open. We do know editing, so it's on. And this guy, you're gonna want to watch this, is Joey. Oh, it says Clips in there, so maybe it's his last name, Joe Volpskis. All I know is I see him hang out with David Dobrik all the time. That's all I know. And I know he does mukbangs a lot in the car. That was his claim to fame. Now I see him doing a lot of, not now, but I have come across him doing a lot of interviews. He does get to talk to Ron Perlman. I don't know how new this was, but I did like the fact that we got to see a little talk about HellBoy. So we're going to talk about this for a second. I just did like an hour-long pitch of a movie that I already did once, and I thought I took too long, and I did another one of it. So I thought it was going to be shorter. I thought I was going to do like a half hour, but I did another hour. But I'm just going to put it up anyways on YouTube. I'm going to cut it down to put some basic stuff in the Instagrams and the TikToks. But it was too fun. It's too fun. I got to create a movie. It's too fun. But let's hear... Why can't I remember it?
Excuse me. Was Hellboy 3 ever close to happening?
No.
Ron Perlman.
How come? Because the first two were successful.
People moved on.
The audience or the production companies? Or the studios?
Some of the creatives.
He seems very upset about that. Just in his voice. He's gonna say he's like in his 90s or 90s. He's in his 70s. He looks great for, I think, 75. He looks great for a 75-year-old. And the first Hellboys, I mean, I honestly think I like two more than one. And that's a hard thing. And I hate it. We don't bring up Hellboy in a lot of these superhero conversations. And that sucks. So my thing is Hellboy that underrated? Like, really? When we talk about superheroes, we bring up different movies, we bring up stuff. People don't bring up The Crow a lot because, you know, they don't think it's a comic, I guess. Ninja Turtles you can even bring up because it's a comic, but I would go off just the original one. Men in Black is a comic. You don't bring that up. But again, they're so kind of far away. Ninja Turtles is popular, but it got taken to a whole different route than the comic. The Crow kind of has its own cult following. Men in Black, way different than the comic. They did a whole different spin on it. The Mask comics are insane. They're so good, but it's not like Jim Carrey at all. It's very bloody, very gruesome. So we have these different people, but this is like one of Dark Horse's comic company, Dark Horse's major players. I think they had Bone and like a couple other people, but Hellboy was their guy. So my thing is Hellboy really underrated compared to a lot of like the superhero movies? Like, I think you could put these up next to like, you know, the Fantastic Fours, you know, Rise of the Silver Surfer and stuff like that, and say they're better. And people may be mad, but I think some of these Hellboys can beat Spider-Man 3. I know everyone gets so hard and happy with Tobey Maguire. I like Tobey, but he's like 30 freaking 8 in that one, and the story's god awful. We get emo Peter, and it's just bad. But Hellboy, I think they're better than that. So are we sleeping on Hellboy?
You want to still do it?
I thought we owed it to the fans. I still do. I'll do it now at 75 years old. If the right person came along and says, okay, because I mean, it was meant to be a trilogy.
Right.
At the end of the second one, she's pregnant with twins, and he still hasn't either destroyed the Earth or saved the Earth, which is his oracle. The third movie was going to have all that in it. It was going to be the resolve. And I thought that if you invited the fans
That would have been
to
huge.
participate in 1 and 2 and not give them 3, you were performing some sort of a, what is it called? It should have happened.
A grace, I guess.
Was the script ever written?
I don't know if there was ever a script, but I certainly know that Guillermo knew what the third movie was going to look like.
Guillermo del Toro is a great
And were you happy with
director.
that?
It would have been epic. That's why it was a shame.
Yeah.
And it turns out,
And that's what really sucks is 3 was supposed to be done. Guillermo del Toro is a great director. He kicked ass with Hellboy. And that's the shame of it, was like people that didn't even read Hellboy comics. And I'm not a big Hellboy comic guy. You still were able to get down with it. Like, it was dope. The storyline behind it is dope. It's cool. And And it sucks because I think they did a reboot with the dude from Red Guardian, from Thunderbolts, the dude from Doctor Stranger Things. And I'm like, I didn't even watch that one. And I think I was just so disgusted that it wasn't Ron Perlman. I was like, I'm not going to watch this. Maybe I should check it out just to have an opinion on it. Maybe that'll be some of my homework to go check that out. I don't know where I can find that streaming. I really don't. Someone wrote, he looks great for 75. Damn, he does. He looks amazing for 75. Like he said he would do it now. 75-year-old Ron Perlman being Hellboy, I'll take it for the third one. And it would be epic. It'd be the final story of him either destroying the Earth or saving the Earth. Yeah, it's something that we should have had. But my biggest thing is this movie super underrated? Why isn't this brought into comic book movie conversations? Right? Why isn't this brought into comic movie conversations? We hear about all kinds of movies. I think this movie's horrible. You know, this was made really bad. Why is I get why The Mask isn't. Because The Mask doesn't really own up to the comic. The comic is way different than the movie. Jim Carrey could have done it. But he's Big Head. He's not called The Mask. He's called Big Head. And The Mask is like, what do you want to call it? Like a mantle? Anyone can wear it. And Stanley Ipkiss, I believe, is the first one. But it goes to different people. There's a woman that wears it. It goes to different people. It's weird watching the cartoon because they actually use some of the characters from the comic. And that was really creepy when I realized it. I rewatched it recently on Tubi. Because Tubi, I like to have fun and watch bad movies on there. And they had The Mask. And I forgot the guy's name. He's a huge guy in the Mask comic. And he's very big, disturbing guy. And they used him in the cartoon. I was like, this is crazy. I forgot all about this. But again, that's why we don't put The Mask up there to talk about comic book movies, because it doesn't really do the Mask comic. It just kind of takes the wooden mask, and makes their own story with it, where it brings out your inner whatever. That's not how it happened. In the comics, it was possessed, and you just couldn't die, and you did horrible things to mobsters. And he wasn't a good guy. He was an anti-hero. He's like a Punisher kind of in a way, but slapstick in a way. He didn't do goofy stuff. He wasn't looking for laughing. But yeah, so that's why we don't bring The Mask and stuff like that to the table. But and funny is that's Dark Horse too, to my knowledge, yeah. But Hellboy is a big superhero movie, but we never bring it up. I think that's crazy. So let's give Hellboy some love.
People really dug the two Hellboy movies.
Yeah,
I'm with them.
We didn't make Marvel money, so it wasn't like one of these like mandates where we had to, like all these movies now where they have to make one after another because they're making $1 billion every time we didn't do that, so there was never a mandate. But it turns out that when you go back and make a list of comic book movies, Hellboy always comes up pretty good.
Was Hellboy 3 ever?
That's the thing too, is he mentioned list, and I honestly, no offense to Ron Perlman, I see a lot of lists brought up, and it's usually the top 10. That's probably why you won't see Hellboy. But for a list of underrated superhero movies, Hellboy should be among those lists. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And it sucks that we were going to get a Hellboy 3. I think we all knew there was going to be a Hellboy 3. It set up for a Hellboy 3. And we didn't get it. And I love Ron Perlman. I think he's amazing in everything he does. And I remember when they were thinking about Cable, I thought Ron Perlman would be a great Cable. Just the voice, the persona. I thought he'd be cool. But again, maybe he of course, they went with a bigger actor, of course. But he was an older guy at that time. Back then, he's probably, like late 50s, 60s, So you kind of want someone that you could bring back. But I don't know. I don't think we're ever going to touch Cable again in the Deadpool universe. I don't see it coming. Which is weird that we just had him for 2 and then we never see him again. And we're dealing with all kinds of time travel right now with multiverses. And I was going to say Kang's not involved either, but we know why Kang's not involved. But Cable's not. I guess because the X-Men aren't really super introduced yet. We're going to get some of them, but it's going to be different. They're waiting to do the MCU X-Men. We're getting the Fox X-Men. But all that being said, let's give our respects to Hellboy and just recognize it as one of the most underrated superhero movies. Now you could say I really like Hellboy. I don't think it's underrated, but I'm just saying it doesn't get brought up in the conversation. That's the thing. When we talk about great superhero movies that we enjoy, or even ones that are like soft spots that maybe someone else doesn't like, we don't bring up Hellboy. I would even let you bring up The Crow, because The Crow is pretty close to the comic, and I love The Crow. I love The Crow. But do I have more fun with Hellboy? I probably like The Crow better as a full story, because it's just a simple arc. It's just different. It's hard to get into this debate with The Crow and whatever, but Hellboy is just great, and I think it doesn't get its flowers. It's just doesn't get its justice. So again, this is Joey Philippis clips. I don't want to, even though I piggyback off these guys to talk about their great discussions like I do with a lot of these, I don't want them to think, oh, they're just using me and not talking about me. Go look at these people. Go check them out. There have been some podcasts, videos I don't really care for, and I may not visit them again. Then there's some like, what is it called? The Escape podcast. They pop up so much and they have really good discussions that I want to chime in so bad. So they pop up a lot of videos I want to be on. But so far as this being said, this was just with this cat. Again, I think he has ties with David Dobrik. I see him in a lot of his videos. If you don't know who David Dobrik is, congrats. But yeah, Hellboy is underrated. You know what? We have OBS up. We're going to close it because we do no editing. Thank you guys. Bye.